The opulent mansion was eerily silent as Marcus paced the study, the paternity results trembling in his hands. The children were not his. His heart ached as memories of their laughter, their first steps, and countless family moments flooded his mind. But the truth loomed over him like a storm cloud, threatening to shatter the life he thought he knew. Marcus poured himself a glass of whiskey, the amber liquid trembling as much as his hands. Could he walk away from the three little faces that had brought so much light into his world? They weren't just DNA, they were his pride, his joy, his everything. But then there was Helen, his wife. The betrayal stung like a wound that refused to heal. How could she lie to him for so long? The door creaked open, and Helen stepped inside, her face pale. She had noticed his distant behavior over the past few days and knew the moment of reckoning had arrived. "Marcus, what's wrong?" she asked, her voice trembling. He held up the envelope, his eyes searching hers. "I know, Helen. About the children. About the driver." Helen's breath hitched, and tears welled in her eyes. She sank into the nearest chair, covering her face with her hands. I never wanted to hurt you. I was desperate. Your family's pressure, the whispers, the judgment. I felt like I was drowning." Marcus's voice was cold, yet laced with anguish. "And your solution was to betray me? To build a life on lies?" Helen sobbed, her words tumbling out. "I love you, Marcus. I always have. But I didn't want to lose you or this life we built. The children, they are yours in every way that matters. You've been the most incredible father to them. Please, don't take that away." The room fell into a heavy silence as Marcus turned away, staring out the window. The city lights twinkled, mocking the darkness within his soul. The children weren't just hers or his, they were theirs. Every scraped knee he had bandaged, every bedtime story he had read, those moments were real. But could he live with the knowledge of how they came to be? Marcus spent days in turmoil, avoiding his family as he wrestled with his emotions. He sought solace in the company of his closest friend, Richard, whose pragmatic advice often steadied him. "Blood doesn't make a father, Marcus," Richard said, leaning back in his chair. "It's the love, the care, the sacrifices. Those kids look up to you. Do you really want to abandon them because of something they had no control over?" Marcus sighed, running a hand through his hair. "But Helen's betrayal, how do I forgive that? How do I trust her again?" Richard nodded thoughtfully. "That's a different question. Forgiveness takes time, and trust has to be rebuilt. But don't let her actions define your relationship with those kids. You've been their father in every way that counts." Marcus finally returned home, his heart heavy but his resolve firm. The children's laughter echoed through the halls, and he found them playing in the living room. They ran to him, their faces lighting up with joy. "Daddy," they shouted in unison, wrapping their small arms around him. In that moment, Marcus knew his decision. He knelt down, holding them close, tears streaming down his face. "I love you," he whispered. "I'll always love you." Later that evening, he sat Helen down. "I'm staying," he said firmly. "Not for you, but for them. They are my children, and nothing will change that. But as for us, Helen, you need to earn back my trust. This marriage can only work if we're honest with each other." Helen nodded, her eyes filled with hope and remorse. "I'll do whatever it takes, Marcus. I promise." The road ahead was not easy. Therapy sessions became a regular part of their lives, as Marcus and Helen worked through the layers of pain and betrayal. Slowly, they rebuilt their relationship, piece by piece. The children, blissfully unaware of the turmoil, continued to thrive under Marcus's unwavering love. Years later, as Marcus watched his eldest graduate from university, pride swelled in his chest. The past had not defined their family, their choices had. The truth had tested them, but love had ultimately prevailed, proving that fatherhood is about far more than biology.